Welcome to my channel Sella Buzz. At 78, Emmylou Harris finally talks about John Denver. Emmylou Harris was born on April 2, 1947 in Birmingham, Alabama. She is one of the most important singers in American music. People love her amazing voice, her songs from the heart, and how she mixes country, folk, rock, and American music together. From when she was young, Harris was smart and good at art. She grew up in a military family. Her dad was a Marine who was captured in the Korean War. This made her strong and tough, which you can hear in her music. When she went to the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, she studied acting. But she started loving folk music more and more. She liked singers like Joan Baez, Bob Dylan, and Pete Seeger. This love of music made her leave school to start a music career that would change American music forever. Her early years as a singer were really hard. After moving to New York City in the late 1960s, she sang in small coffee shops in Greenwich Village during the folk music boom. Like many young singers back then, she had money problems and worked odd jobs while trying to make it in music. During this time, she made her first album called Gliding Bird in 1969. This album showed she had talent, but it didn't make her famous yet. She had personal problems too, like a short marriage and being a mom, which was hard. But she never gave up. Her life and career changed completely in the early 1970s, when she met the famous country rock singer, Graham Parsons. Parsons had been in the Byrds and the Flying Burrito Brothers before. He heard Harris's amazing voice and asked her to sing backup with him. They only worked together for a short time, but it was super important for both of them. Together they made two albums, GP in 1973 and Grievous Angel in 1974. These albums are now considered some of the most important country rock albums ever made. Harris's beautiful harmonies made Parsons' music even better, while he taught her about traditional country music. Sadly, Parsons died from too many drugs in 1973. This made Harris very sad, but it also made her want to continue his musical ideas. She often called Parsons her musical soulmate. For her whole career, she honored his memory and made sure people would never forget his important work. After Parsons died, Harris started her own solo career with new purpose. She signed with Reprise Records and released Pieces of the Sky in 1975, which made her famous. The album had her special mix of old country songs, modern covers, and her own style. It introduced her to many more people. Songs like If I Could Only Win Your Love showed she could make any song special. She quickly followed this success with more great albums, Elite Hotel in 1975, Luxury Liner in 1977, and Quarter Moon in a 10-Cent Town in 1978. Each album made her reputation stronger as one of the most original and talented artists in the business. One of the most special things about Harris's career is how much she likes working with other people. She worked with incredibly talented musicians, including the Hot Band, which had a young Rodney Crowell and amazing guitarist Albert Lee. Later, she teamed up with Dolly Parton and Linda Ronstadt for trio projects, creating some of the most beautiful, three-part harmonies in country music history. Her duets and team-ups crossed different types of music and generations. She worked with everyone from Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Neil Young, and Bob Dylan, to younger artists like Buddy Miller, Gillian Welch, and Ryan Adams. This spirit of sharing her art didn't just expand her musical horizons, it also built bridges between traditional country, modern folk, and rock music. Harris's artistry has always been deeply personal and often spiritual. Her songs often talk about love, loss, longing, redemption, and searching for meaning. She has never been afraid to show her feelings, and her ability to put raw human emotion into her music is one reason her work touches people so powerfully. Albums like Wrecking Ball in 1995, produced by Daniel Lanois, were bold departures from her earlier country sound. They embraced dreamy textures and experimental production while keeping the emotional honesty that defines her music. This willingness to take risks kept her career fresh and interesting across decades, appealing not only to country audiences, but also to fans of alternative and indie music. Beyond her music, Emmylou Harris is admired for her humanitarian spirit and quiet strength. She has been an advocate for animal welfare, starting Bonaparte's Retreat, a rescue organization dedicated to saving dogs from being put down. She has also used her voice and platform for causes like landmine removal, disaster relief, and support for veterans. Her activism, just like her music, shows her compassion and sense of responsibility to the wider world. Over her career, Harris has received countless awards and honors, including 14 Grammy Awards, being put into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2008, and the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2018. These awards, while impressive, only begin to show her influence. She has inspired countless musicians, from established stars to new songwriters, and her work continues to be a touchstone for those who believe in the power of music to heal, unite, and cross boundaries. Emmylou Harris has experienced the complexities of love, partnership, and family life through 3 marriages. Each marriage left its own mark on her personal journey. She has openly described herself as a really good ex-wife, a comment that shows her thoughtfulness, honesty, and the self-awareness she brought to her relationships. She acknowledges both the joys and challenges of marriage without bitterness. Her first major romantic chapter began in 1969, when she met fellow folk artist Tom Slocum, while living in the vibrant bohemian heart of New York City's Greenwich Village. This neighborhood was known for its creative energy and thriving folk music scene. Their shared artistic feelings and youthful idealism led them to marry in the same year. This cemented a union that combined their personal and professional lives during a period of big cultural and musical change in America. In 1970, Harris and Slocum welcomed their first daughter, Hallie, into the world. Having a child marked a big shift for Harris as she tried to balance her growing career and the responsibilities of being a mom. Despite the challenges of life on the road as a performing artist, she often took Hallie with her during tours in the early stages of her career. This ensured that the child was at least partially part of her world. However, Harris made the difficult decision to have Hallie spend most of her time living with her grandparents in Maryland. She recognized that constant travel could not replace stability and a grounded upbringing. Thinking about this period, Harris honestly said, "I don't think the road is good for kids. Once in a while, it's fun like a trip to Disneyland, but not as a way of life." This highlighted her careful consideration of what was truly in her daughter's best interest. In the end, Harris and Slocum's marriage ended in divorce in 1971 after just 2 years together. This marked the end of her first attempt at a long-term partnership. Several years later, Harris found love again, this time with her producer, Brian Ahern. Their relationship grew from a professional partnership into a personal commitment, ending in their marriage in 1977 at Ahern's home in Halifax, Nova Scotia. This location showed their mutual appreciation for both intimacy and the natural beauty of their surroundings. After their marriage, the couple settled in Studio City, Los Angeles, California. This area was known for its connection to the entertainment industry, which allowed Harris to continue her music career while building a family life. In 1979, Harris and Ahern welcomed their second daughter, Megan, expanding Harris's family and introducing new dimensions to her life as a mother. This period was a blend of home responsibilities and artistic growth, as Harris navigated motherhood alongside a career that was rapidly gaining momentum. However, despite their shared history and creative synergy, the marriage ended in divorce in 1984. This prompted Harris to move to Nashville, Tennessee, a move that would set the stage for the next chapter of both her personal and professional life. Harris's third marriage came in 1985 when she married songwriter and record producer Paul Kennerly. This partnership was built on a shared passion for music and storytelling. For several years, Harris and her family lived in an older home near Nashville's famous Music Row, the heart of the city's country music industry. This location allowed Harris to stay deeply connected to her work while providing a family environment filled with creative energy. Despite these shared values and their musical collaboration, Harris and Kennerly's marriage, like her previous ones, ended in divorce in 1993. Each of these marriages played a big role in shaping Harris's views on love, family, and life on the road. They left her with a deep understanding of both the joys and complexities of close relationships. For decades, fans of both Emmylou Harris and John Denver have wondered about the true nature of their friendship. Their occasional collaborations, and the deep respect they seemed to share for each other as artists. While Harris has often been quiet about discussing her private relationships, especially with fellow musicians of Denver's fame, she has now, at the age of 78, opened up in a rare and heartfelt interview. She is shedding light on the bond they shared and the lasting impact Denver had on her life and career. Harris, known for her heavenly voice and the way she seamlessly blends country, folk, and rock influences, began by thinking about the kind of person John Denver was outside of the stage personality that millions around the world loved. John was above everything else genuine, she explained softly. There was no fake act about him. The man you heard singing Take Me Home Country Roads was the same man you'd meet backstage or on a quiet walk out in the hills. He believed in the beauty of nature, in kindness, and in music as a way to connect people. That wasn't an act. It was who he truly was. She went on to remember how their paths crossed during the peak of the 1970s folk and country boom, when Harris was making a name for herself, and Denver was already a worldwide star. Their musical styles went together in surprising ways. And while they never recorded a full album together, their performances, whether at benefit concerts or special events, are still fondly remembered by fans. Singing with John was effortless, Harris said with a smile. Our voices just seemed to understand each other. He had this clear, soaring tenor, and when I'd come in with a harmony, it felt like we were weaving something bigger than both of us. There are moments in music when you don't have to think, you just feel. And that's what it was like with him. As she spoke, Harris's tone shifted to a more thoughtful one as she talked about the tragic end of Denver's life. In 1997, when he died in a plane crash at only 53 years old. Even after all these years, the memory is difficult for her. I don't think anyone who knew him has ever fully gotten over that loss, she admitted. It was sudden, it was shocking, and it felt so unfair. John had so much more to give. He had this light, this presence that was meant to be around for a long time. When I heard the news, I just sat in silence for hours. I think part of me didn't want to believe it. But Harris was quick to add that while Denver's life ended too soon, his legacy continues powerfully through his music and the environmental causes he supported. John was ahead of his time in so many ways, she noted. He cared deeply about the planet, about keeping nature safe, about reminding us to be stewards of this earth. Long before it became common to talk about climate change or conservation, John was using his platform to say, we need to take care of this place we call home. And he did it, not in a preachy way, but with love, through his songs. When asked what she personally carries with her from her friendship with Denver, Harris paused thoughtfully before answering. I think what John gave me and so many others was permission to be real, she said. He never tried to fit into an image or bend himself to the industry's expectations. He sang about what mattered to him, even if it wasn't popular. That takes courage, and it reminded me that I could do the same, that I could sing songs that came from my heart, even if they didn't fit neatly into some category. In a way, John helped me stay true to myself as an artist. Now, as Harris thinks about her long and amazing career, she admits that speaking publicly about Denver has not been easy because the emotions are still raw. But at 78, she feels it's important to give voice to her memories of him, not only for herself, but for the generations of listeners who continue to discover his music. We don't get many people like John in this world, she concluded, her voice touched with both sadness and gratitude. I miss him, I honor him, and I'm so grateful I got to share even a small part of this journey with him. Whenever I hear his songs, I feel like he's still here, reminding us to love more deeply, to live more simply, and to always keep our eyes on the beauty around us. In finally breaking her silence, Emmylou Harris has given fans an intimate look into a friendship based on music, respect, and a shared love of life's simplest joys. Her words serve not only as a tribute to John Denver, but as a reminder of how music can create connections that time and loss can never erase.